Hey everyone, welcome to video 2 in Communication Conquest. Today we're going to go over mistake 2. Yesterday we did the first mistake in sending DMs, that's using formal greetings. And today we're going to talk about mistake 2, which is sending long messages and introductions. Now we're talking about DMs, but this also applies to emails, even the way you post on your social media. So what I mean by long messages are walls of text, lines with no breaks in it, one singular message with many lines, and there's just no break in between because it makes it very hard to read, and it annoys everybody that reads it. Nobody actually wants to read them. It takes too much effort. Remember, when we're writing things, we want it to be so easy for the person to read it. We want to reduce any effort that they have in actually reading it. Otherwise, the more effort you're putting them through, the more they will hate you for it and they just won't respond to you. So this works for messages and introductions, as I see a lot of people write a whole introductory message, which is just too much. And I'm going to explain why. Um, First of all, what the mistake is writing long introductions or messages or long messages talking about your services before the prospect has shown any interest. So this is really important to know, right? So it's like meeting a stranger. You don't go to a stranger and start talking about who you are and what you do in your whole life before he's asked any questions about it. Otherwise, you're just talking at him. So it's really important to mimic uh, social interactions. Have the social awareness that you would have in real life in the DMs. Because it's the same thing. You're still bothering someone. They still have to go through the effort of messaging and reading your message. So show the awareness, and they will appreciate that. So look, why doesn't it work? So one, it's people have limited attention spans, right? We're all getting thrown bombarded with messages, emails, DMs, adverts, whatever it is, and nobody has the patience or time anymore to go through. And our brains recognize patterns where usually our brains will recognize a pattern where if it's too long a message, we'll just ignore it. We'll think it's too much time. We'll think it's too much time for us to read, so I'm just going to ignore it as it's a waste of my time. Um, uh, you know, the thing is, not only will they not read it, they'll hate you for it because they'll think, "Why is this person wasting my time?" And not only will they not read it, they'll just actively dislike you. They'll lose respect for you, and you just won't be able to do anything with them. So that's another important thing is you got to keep their respect, especially you're reaching out to them cold. So it will annoy them and they will hate you for it, which is obviously you don't want. Number two, lack of understanding. If you share too much, it'll give them the impression that you don't actually know about their needs and what they want, and you're actually trying to overcompensate for something by putting everything in there because something may stick. Instead, be very specific, find out what they want, find out what will be helpful to them, and only give that. You don't have to talk about other things if it's not going to be helpful to them. And third, it's information overload, right? You don't want them to feel like this guy here. You're just putting too much for their brain to manage, and we all hate that. We hate information overload. It's too much, and it's just going to it's one, yes, it's going to lead them to miss out on critical details because they're going to be having to look at other words that are unnecessary. But two, it'll just overload their brain, and it's tiring. So you don't want that to happen. Remember, make it easy for them. Now, what to do instead? Chill out and relax. Okay, so that's important with all your messaging, all your posts. Just chill out, take a breath, and think, okay, how can I approach this strategically and calmly? Okay, so what to do? Be concise, which means use less words as necessary. Get to the point quickly in as few words as possible. Okay, so instead of saying, "Hey, my name is this. I run this marketing agency from here, and I do this and this," just say, "Hey, I help to do X," or very straight to the point. And the more results orientated you can talk, the better. Don't talk in general terms, talk in more results and outcomes. Number two, be very relevant. So that means customize your message to the person's needs, right? Like from before, don't write everything. Just don't bombard them with text. Customize it. If they're looking for lead generation uh, services through outreach, then you don't need to talk about your SEO, for example, or you don't need to talk about things that are not relevant. You only talk about what they need and what their desired outcome is. Third, and this is important, right? This is very, very important. It's the push pull technique as well. Make them curious about you or about what you want to say or about your service, right? And the way to make them curious is by saying less. The less you say, the more their brain will try and figure out what is it, and then they'll come back to you with a question. The more you say, the more you're actually just giving them to be like, okay, now I know enough. I don't need to ask any questions. So make them intrigued by what you do, tease them with results or the desired outcomes they want. And you can say it very in a relaxed, nonchalant, chilled out way, like, yeah, we helped this company get 500 email signups in a couple months. But I'm not saying it to kind of make you convinced by what I'm trying to do or persuade you. I'm just saying it as if like, yeah, I do that. Yeah, we help companies grow their email list. Last week, I helped someone do 500 email signups. Um, is that something you're interested in? Very chilled out. It's like I'm taking a step back and I'm just asking you a question, right? And I can do that in one or two sentences. Like, hey, very simply, like, hey, I help marketers get more warm email signups so they can sell more of their services to them. Last week, I helped one marketer get 500 email signups. Is that something you're interested in seeing? Right. And you're teasing them with the result, but you're offering them a solution. You're basically saying, you don't talk about your service. You don't say, this is what I can do for you and this is how I'll do it. You basically say, I've done this. Do you want to see how? You're showing them how. Remember, you're giving value. And this comes to the golden rule: always give something. Always ask them, do you want this? And if they can benefit from it without them paying you or doing anything for it. So you're always giving value, giving solutions, giving strategies, giving something that they can benefit from, something that will help them without them having to go through any effort to actually get it, right? That's how you start relationships off. You're going to give them value up front. Remember, you're not trying to sell them. You're trying to create a relationship to give value, and then they will trust you. Okay, so you want them to think and feel, that's interesting. I'm intrigued. I want to hear more. That's how you want them to feel. You're not going to sell them in your message. You're not going to make them pay you straight away from your message, but you want them to think this person's just messaged me. I've never known him since today. He just messaged me today, and now I want to hear more from him because it's interesting. Okay, so I hope that's very clear about how to keep messages short. Just to give you a bit more practical, one or two sentences per message. Short sentences, like 3 or 4 lines max. And if you need to send a second message, do it in a second message. Send another 3 or 4 lines, then a third message. Don't put it all in one block of text, right? Now it's time for some analysis on one message. So one thing is, I want you to send me your DMs or your anything you're using to communicate, to generate leads, sales. So your messaging material, your posting, social media content, the emails you're sending out, anything like that. Your sales scripts, um, anything like that, send it to me and I'm going to analyze it on this call and give you advice on what to do instead and what's wrong with it. Okay. So this is one, and it's going to be completely anonymous. I'm not going to tell people who you are. I'm going to remove anything that shows your name or anything like that. So just feel free to send it. It's going to be really helpful. So okay, let's just take this message now. This person, they probably had some communication before, and then a month ago, 18th June, he asked him a question which they didn't reply to. So a month later, now he's going in for the pitch, so to speak. So if you see already, look how big this message is. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's like 20 lines here. Okay. It takes up half the screen on your phone. It's too big, right? And it's too much to read, and it's not broken up as well. Like it's hard to read. Okay. Now, let's think about how to keep it curious. And when I say curious, remember, say less. Say less, not more. So you could say, "Hi, Moshin, hope you're doing great. I've seen you're posting content in groups advertising your business. It's it's great to see brothers from our community growing up. I'm currently working with company, a California-based business with their marketing needs. Would you be interested in having?" Okay, so let me analyze this a bit deeply. Okay, so I have seen you are posting content in groups at group. Okay, so there should be a comma after groups advertising your business. I would, instead of saying I have seen you are posting, just compliment the post, right? You need to be specific. Say, great post about this in this group, right? You don't need to say, this is very like, I've seen you are posting content in groups advertising your business. It doesn't actually inspire anything, right? It's just a logical statement. It's not like, it's not creative enough. If you say like, I loved your post in this group, then it's like, okay, now he's complimenting me. He's coming with a bit of value there, right? It's great. So it should be it's great to see brothers from our community growing up. Oops, sorry. It's great to see brothers from our community growing up. That growing up, I don't know what that means. It doesn't really make much sense. Like if you're gonna give a compliment, like give a specific compliment, like, hey, I've seen your journey from here to there, and I think it's inspiring, or it was quite motivating for me to read your post, right? I am currently working with. Okay, so now you've just gone into. Now you could just have the first message with the compliment. You just say, I've seen you've been posting, and I find it really inspiring. Just wanted to say thank you." And you're waiting for him to reply, because that's the whole point of this, is to wait for them to reply. That's how I would have started it. Just sent a message to compliment up to here and wait for them to reply. You want to start a conversation. You want him to be curious. Okay, well, he's messaged me. Let me ask something about him, and then we can have a conversation back and forth, right? That's how you should have kept it concise. Now, this, you should only mention what you're doing if he asks. And instead, what you should be doing, and also you should not be asking him if he's interested in a service. And you should not be writing the price. Because remember, once you write the price, then they're going to compare you with everyone else who does the same thing, who makes a website for $100. And instead, he'll go to the guy who makes it for $80 or whatever, the cheaper one. So once you've given the price, he's now got a benchmark to be like, okay, now I'm going to find someone cheaper. It's just a website at the end of the day. I can find someone cheaper. That's how he'll think. Instead, and look again, you're putting website, you're putting Facebook, Google My Business, Instagram, sales. You're giving everything up front. You're telling him too much, right? Remember, information overload. You're not understanding what his needs are. So you're trying to give everything and see if one of them sticks. So instead, cut back on this. Let him reply to the first compliment, and then just ask him. Remember, you remember giving value. Hey, I've got a strategy that may help you get more sales through Facebook or through Instagram. Is this something you're interested in? I can send it over. Right. So that's how you do it, right? Very chilled out. Don't say things like "would love to have your words," because that it's not like the correct English. Would love to have your words. Um, and when you're sending a message, unless you know someone, don't say "would love to have this," because it's a bit fake. Okay. So let me know your feedback on this, please. And if you can, write another message based on my feedback. But just to give you like quick, I'd be like, "Hi, Moshin. Saw your post in whatever group. It inspired me to make my own. So thank you. Just wanted to say that." Okay. And maybe a smiley face, whatever. You do it to your personality. You don't have to. I don't do smiley faces. Then he replies, "Oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. Thank you." Then you can say, "By the way, I have a strategy uh, that's helping uh, me get more sales on Instagram thought you might find it useful, and you can give context, like, because you're in, because you're in the same space, something like that, digital space. Context good. um just something you'd be interested in seeing. So look, this is my message, right? It's 2 lines, 1 line here, 2 lines here, that's it. I'm not talking about any of my services. Okay, so rewrite this, please, and let me know. I'll analyze it again. So yeah, keep sending me stuff like this. Hope this one was helpful, and yeah, we're gonna hopefully grow this group and get you guys, messaging, using words correctly, so the Western market will be, will be over the moon that you're messaging them, and you can really serve them. So thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video.